Hey everyone, welcome to the Lost Cards. This week we're talking about Willowdusk Seer. If you saw our episode from earlier in the week, you saw that we were gaining life, losing life, putting tons of counters on creatures with lifelink, ideally. That's what we were doing, but there's a bunch of different ways we can build this commander. That's what we're talking about here today on the Lost Cards. Check it out. All right, it's Lost Cards for Willowdusk Seer, brand new Strixhaven C21 Commander 21 decks. I love this card and I love this deck. I gotta say, I was super into Willowdusk once we started brewing with it and talking about it. If you're not familiar, if you didn't check out this week's episode, which you should, because it was a very fun deck and it surprised me honestly with what you can end up doing with this deck. But Willowdusk is a 3-mana commander, which is really nice, with a 1-mana tap ability to basically, if you lost life or gained life, whatever you did the most of, you get to put that many counters on something. So if you lost 2 life but you gained 10 life, you put 10 counters on something. And obviously tons of synergy coming through there with a Golgari +1/+1 counters deck. Now we went the route of putting it all on lifelinkers, losing tons of life, putting our counters on lifelinking creatures, and then kind of gaining that life back, and then really just crushing our opponents with really big evasive creatures. And
like a bit of a like it's like using a credit card, right? Like you put the life on the credit card, exactly, and then you're gonna pay that back with the lifelink creature.
That's right. And again, if you listen to that episode, you probably noted that we had a little a mini graveyard theme, and like I said, it's in the episode. It's kind of tough to avoid with running green black. So many good synergy, so many good strategies, so many good cards in green black that care about the graveyard. It's tough to avoid. So there's obviously, I think, a version of this deck where you just go hard and just make this a full on graveyard deck. Seeing something like the original Reanimate makes a lot of sense for that deck, right?
Right, sorcery where you lose life equal to the converted mana cost or the mana value of the creature you put back on the battlefield. Yep. That's why you get it for so cheap, because you lose life, but we're just going to put a ton of counters on it.
Yeah, and then if you're obviously you're including, don't be afraid to include the very big creatures at that point, because it's just going to be great with Reanimate. And then conversely, card like Gnaw to the Bone ends up being pretty good in that deck too, which is that's the 3-mana instant that you gain 2 life for each creature card in your graveyard, and then you can flash it back as well. You can gain a ton of life off of this card, and that can be your source of counters in your graveyard deck. That can be really fun.
There's lots of enchantments that let you pay 2 life and some mana to bring a creature back from the graveyard.
Yeah,
so we can really leverage that life total to, I like the graveyard angle, just focusing on that.
Yep. Similarly, we mentioned we had some synergies with tokens, right? We had MacLeod is in that deck. Iridescent Hornbeetle was a really cool one because that one makes insects. And if you know anything about the Strixhaven College of Witherbloom, you might know about pests. So Sean, why don't you take a look at this card?
Sure. So this is 10 the Pests. This card impresses in limited if you put it in the right situation, but it's just perfect for this deck. Black green instant. As an additional cost, sack a creature. Create X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with, whenever this creature dies, you gain 1 life, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Well, with Willowdusk, we can make 10 10s, 12 12s, 15 15s, and then just turn them into a million pests, alpha strike with them, heck, run a board wipe, gain that 15 back. Well, I guess with a board wipe, you don't have Willowdusk to do. Well, you just cast Willowdusk. Well, then you got to give them haste. Yeah. Anyway,
we have ways to do that. That's a key thing when you talk about having a tap ability on a commander. You're gonna want a few things that give haste in there,
sure,
and protect it. So your boots, your greaves, these things are in the deck.
Yeah, and then this is right. This does, as you pointed out, makes Blex much better because the Blex makes all those 2/2s. Right. Mm-hmm. We pointed this out in the main deck tech, but Blex is a creature on the front and a sorcery that lets you pay 15 life on the back, so we can pay the 15 life, but then return it as a creature, and then keep that loop going if we want. That's 15 counters on something, 10 the pests, gain that 15 life. This is great. This is fun.
Yeah, right.
I love turning dials and creating machines with lots of moving parts as commander decks. This is it.
Yeah, this is totally it. Search for Blacks is a hot card, I gotta say. I think it's like got a lot of application in a lot of decks that, I mean, you don't even have to care about the graveyard, to be honest. Like, it's just pretty good. Then similarly to the Felisa deck from last week, where we talked about there's like a full-on lifelink version. There's a lifelink only version of Willowdusk where we don't care about the losing part of it. We don't even lean into the losing life portion of it, because it's either one, right? It's whatever you did the most of that turn. So like, forget about losing life altogether if you want. Just go hard on the life gain, and you can just use Willowdusk in the exact same way, except you're not even putting yourself at any kind of risk. One of my favorite combos from a previous deck that I had that I just wanted to bring up here again because it's like so good is Pestilence Demon, which is 5 black for a demon, a 7/6 with flying. Has the Pestilence, like from the old Pestilence card, has that ability on it, which is pay a single black, and Pestilence Demon deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Well, if you can find a way to give Pestilence Demon lifelink, and with something like, the Whip of Erebos, or this card here, Eternal Thirst, which is 1 and a black for an aura that says the creature has lifelink, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Oh, my goodness.
Just, added bonus. But if it has lifelink and it does that, that's 1 lifelink for every creature it hits. So someone has tokens out, or you do, because it's your stuff too, Pestilence Demon can gain you a ton of life. And then if you're talking about things that care about instances of life gain, which Willowdusk doesn't, but any other thing that does care about that, Pestilence Demon creates a lot of triggers for that sort of thing. So you can start going down that road.
So Pestilence Demon lets us do this 5 times before it would possibly kill itself.
That's right.
So if we've got a ton of creatures out, we could gain, 30 or 40 life if like we're doing 1 to a bunch of creatures. And then Willowdusk can put those 30 counters right on Pestilence Demon, and it's got flying. And if you probably cleared the way off of someone's board, so that's a kill right there.
The wild thing is if you can somehow make Willowdusk live as well, which isn't impossible because you might have given... Oh, no, she can't give herself the counters. But if somehow you made her be able to live through the damage, you can just, you can kill the whole, you can like hit up to 5. You've lost, even if it doesn't have lifelink, you can lose 5 life from the Pestilence Demon, then put 5 more counters on Pestilence Demon, hit for 5 more, and then probably wipe the whole board with Pestilence Demon trigger.
Here's how to run it.
Mana, I guess.
You activate Willowdusk's ability, which is a sorcery only, but before it resolves, then you go ham with Pestilence Demon. So by the time Willowdusk's ability resolves, Pestilence Demon, it will have seen you gain like 40, 50, 60 life. So then it's just like, and now I'm ready to resolve. Let me check my records, and you gained 60 life. Here you go, Pestilence Demon. Go nuts.
This is a card that came up later in the brew, and I didn't really have a ton of room for it because, and I don't think it was this brew was perfect for it. But Aetherflux Reservoir is also a card that we could talk about here in this lifelink version, because I think in the original deck, yes, there are definitely times when you can gain a lot of life because you got these massive life linkers, and like I said in the original episode, like there's cards that make us lose half of our life. There's cards that make us lose a third of our life, stuff like that. So you can gain a lot of counters on your lifelink creatures and so on. But especially if you're in this all lifelink version where, things are hitting and we just have huge life gain or life totals, like obviously Aetherflux Reservoir is a thing to include, because you pay 50 life to activate it, and then Willowdusk puts 50 counters on something. Incredible.
Wow. So I'll use 50 life to just blast you with my Aetherflux Reservoir. Then I'll put 50 counters on this flying trample demon.
Yeah.
And then I'll just attack the other person who I didn't kill.
Oh, wow. Put on the flying trample demon, hit, then kill the third person. with the Aetherflux Reservoir
with the
again.
lifelink. Huh.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's amazing.
yeah, I think you could squeeze this in the original brew and probably make it work. But it's definitely going to work in this like only lifelink version.
Can I recommend one of my favorite cards of all time? I would want to put a Willowdusk deck together. I think it would be graveyard heavy, and I would have lots of ways to mill myself one at a time, one or two at a time. And I would run Bolas's Citadel as a way to so I could make sure I've got a juicy spell on the top, pay some life, cast that spell. If it's a land, I'd just mill it away, pull stuff out of my graveyard. I've spent 30 life on free cards. Now I'm going to make something huge. Ooh, Andy, this is fun.
Two of my favorite cards that have been printed in recent years are Bolas's Citadel and
1,000 Year Storm.
No, that's up there too. No, it's the one that you get all the stuff back from graveyards and you have to pay life for everything.
Command
the Dread Horde.
Command the Dread Horde.
Command the Dread Horde.
That's another card.
Both of these cards
good.
are in the deck, the original deck, but we didn't talk about them in the main episode. We didn't bring them up. But absolutely, these are must includes in a Willowdusk. Witherbloom, Willowdusk. Anyways, yeah, they're great cards to include here, and you're right. Bolas's Citadel does shine in that version where you're milling yourself because, like you said, you don't like what's on top, mill it away, and let's see what else we can get. Right?
Really
fun. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, there's even more ways you can go, I'm sure, and I would love to hear about them in the comments. If you're putting together your own Willowdusk, deck, and you've got some hot tech, I'd love to know about it because I'm putting together this Willowdusk deck from this week. So please tell me about it. Let me know. Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Of course, brand new deck tech, brand new Lost cards, and we will see you then. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.